Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, less than 24 hours after 6 persons died from an attack by gunmen on 3 villages in Plateau State, 20 others killed in fresh violence in Bassa local government area, President Buhari orders end to attacks. Federal government confirms 3 cases of monkeypox virus in Plateau State following results of tests conducted at the WHO laboratory in Dakar, Senegal. Aggrieved PDP members in Anambra State threatened to back another party candidate in the November the 18th governorship election in the state. And over 30 killed in spate of wildfires in central and north of Portugal.
On business news tonight, Nigeria and Ghana sign agreement on maritime border security for better trade relations.
And in sports news tonight, Super Eagles of Nigeria moves to 41st position in new FIFA World Ranking.
And from Abuja, FCT High Court turns down request by the Attorney General of the Federation asking it to issue a warrant summoning Senator Issa Misal before the court.
We begin from Plateau State in north-central Nigeria, where the death toll from an early morning attack in Miango district of Bassa local government area has risen to 29. The attack is the second in less than 24 hours after 6 people were killed in a late-night sneak raid on Tegbe village, also in Miango. The state government has been asking residents to remain calm while it beefs up security in the area.
An attack too many for the Irigwe chiefdom of Miango district in Bassa local government area of Plateau State. At least 29 people were killed at the local education authority primary school in Inyike Donguru, where they are seeking refuge after being displaced by an attack on the village 2 weeks ago. The head teacher of the primary school where the incident happened is still in shock. His concerns are that the victims were innocent people who were seeking protection.
It's a pity that the villagers will come and stay here for security purpose, and now the whole village has been condemned. Well, my security, I don't know their work here. I don't know their work here. They would have rescued my people, but now they decided to leave my people. They called them for others to come and kill them innocently. So it is of, I don't see their use here. They better just leave us.
At a private hospital in the village where the injured are receiving treatment, 2 bodies were waiting for evacuation, while a survivor tells us what happened.
We were there outside, the time where these Fulani people, they came there, and then the army, they told me, say, more enter the class. The time where I entered the class, and then the Fulani people then came inside the bush, and the army then they enter the bush. So the time when they enter the bush, then they send bullet with these Fulani people. These Fulani people then came there near with them. Then they send bullet with them. After what they send bullet with them, the Fulani people then go back. After another 30 minutes, they still came back again. The time when they came, these army people, they are not dead yet.
The community is still mourning. They are concerned about the inability of security operatives to come to their aid, insisting they are culpable. But the officials of Operation Safe Haven disagree with them.
The unfortunate incident that happened was as a result of an attack that came up, and then the military sent in their defense special forces that came and repelled the attack. Unfortunately, we had large casualties. That's as a result of the attack came in the night, and there were all sorts of misleading informations, and that's what led people to panic. And as a result, people went helter-skelter, but there's no way the military could abandon them.
The Plateau State Governor, Simon Along, has summoned a security meeting to include all security agencies as well as government officials to discuss these attacks and profile a solution to this security challenge.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is asking the military and the police to immediately end the killings in Plateau State. The president is not only telling them to stop the killings, but also wants them to draw up a plan to ensure that there are no further attacks or reprisals. The president describes the attack as madness gone too far and wants Nigerians to learn to live together in peace and harmony. The president also sent his condolences to the governor and people of the state and those who lost their loved ones. To health matters now. Well, now it's real. The federal government has finally confirmed 3 cases of monkeypox virus after the screening of samples at the World Health Organization laboratory in Dakar, Senegal. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, reveals that only 3 out of the 17 suspected cases from Bayelsa State are positive, 12 are negative, while 2 samples are still undergoing screening. But they say there's no cause for alarm, as there's no confirmed case of the virus outside Bayelsa State for now.
On September the 22nd this year, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, received a report of suspected cases of monkeypox virus from the Bayelsa State Ministry of Health. And by October 13th, 17 suspected cases have been reported. Samples were taken for laboratory analysis at the World Health Organization laboratory in Dakar, Senegal. 43 other suspected cases were also reported from states including Lagos, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Nasarawa, Ekiti and Enugu State. Almost 1 month after the samples were sent for laboratory analysis, the Minister of Health and the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control are in this hall to address journalists on the laboratory results.
We have received laboratory confirmation for monkeypox virus from 3 of these cases from the WHO regional laboratory in Dakar, Senegal. Samples from 12 other cases from Bayelsa were negative. We are still awaiting results from 2 samples. With this result, we can confirm authoritatively that 3 suspected monkeypox cases have been confirmed from laboratory evidence.
There have been unconfirmed cases of monkeypox virus in other states, including Anambra and Delta State, where some parents withdrew their children from schools after rumor about monkeypox virus vaccine being administered by the military went viral. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control calls for calm, saying there is no confirmed case of the virus outside Bayelsa State for now.
As we have said severally, Nigerians are advised to remain calm and supportive of public health authorities. It's important to note that there has been no confirmation of monkeypox in any other part of the country. And it's likely that many of the other cases being reported across several other states will be ruled out.
There have been 60 reported suspected cases across Nigeria since the monkeypox virus outbreak was first reported in Bayelsa State in September this year. But no fatality has been reported, even though 3 cases have been confirmed by the government.
Meanwhile, one of the patients suspected to be infected with the monkeypox virus in Bayelsa State has committed suicide. The victim was among the 21 suspected carriers of the virus quarantined at the Niger Delta University Teaching Hospital. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Pt.1, says that he regrets that any patient took his own life despite speedily recovering from the disease, and stated that his medical history did not suggest any mental illness or features of depression. The Health Commissioner insists the patient did not die from the disease. Well, to discuss this development as well as its implications for the health of all, I'm now being joined on the News at 10 by the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Dr. Chikwe Ihekwazo. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10 tonight from Abuja.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I know you were at that briefing earlier today, but just for now, can you confirm to us that we have just 3 confirmed cases from Bayelsa State? Can you confirm that that is still the case as you speak to us tonight?
That is definitely still the case. We have 3 confirmed cases from Bayelsa. We have quite a number of other samples awaiting testing, and we should have a few more results by the end of the week. But that's definitely the situation at the moment.
All right, in all this, have you been able to establish the initial source of the outbreak from the index case? I know there's so much information about who you've confirmed and the samples that you have, but in terms of how this all started, there's so many theories about someone eating meat, or where did it actually come from? Have you established that?
So investigations are still ongoing about the specific route of transmission for what we call the index case, the first case. However, it's the most likely scenario. Monkeypox is a virus that circulates normally in animals. And so from time to time, this virus jumps from animals to humans, and that's why we call it a zoonotic infection. And that's the most likely scenario. What specific animal it jumped from to the first human is what we're looking at the moment. But, you know, in terms of control measures, it's important to remember that the risk factor for humans is not in eating the meat, but it's actually in preparing, in touching and playing with animals, especially when you find a sick animal or a dead animal. So it's actually in hunting and touching and playing and killing animals where the greatest risk lies, and not in eating a well-cooked or well-fried meat anywhere in the country.
Well, I know one of the things that Lagos had been commended for during the Ebola scourge at the time was contact tracing and monitoring primary and secondary cases. What's being done in this particular case in terms of quarantine, etc.? Now that you've confirmed that 3 people actually have the virus, can you tell us anything about what your agency, for instance, is doing about tracing those who've had contact with those people?
Yeah, so we've done a fantastic job, but it's important to remember that this is not actually being led on by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. Our role is to support the states. And just like you mentioned Lagos in the last, in your comments, we must actually really recommend the work done by the Bayelsa State government, the Commissioner of Health and his team. They have been at the forefront of the response to this outbreak. We've had a team supporting them for over 4 weeks now. They've been in Bayelsa throughout this period. We've been able to identify all the cases that fit the case definition. There have been several other rumors, so every day there are 3-4 new rumors. We go out, support the state in investigating, checking whether they meet the case definition. If they do, they're isolated at the Niger Delta University Teaching Hospital. So it's almost exactly the same approach as was used for the Ebola outbreak response, but it's important to remember that we're talking about 2 completely different viruses with 2 completely different scenarios in terms of fatality and risk to humans. So yes, we've done a very good job with the government of Bayelsa State. However, I think we don't want to really compare this with the Ebola scenario because they're 2 completely different scenarios.
All right. In light of the report, I mean, the unfortunate report, where we understand someone has actually taken his life, someone who is actually infected. What is one to do when one finds that you have such symptoms or a family member has such symptoms? I mean, you don't want to just say, don't panic, but what would you be able to tell Nigerians tonight as they're watching that they should do in the unfortunate case that they contract the virus somehow?
Yes, it's a real pity, and together with the Honorable Minister, we called the Honorable Commissioner for Health in Bayelsa to express our condolences to the people of Bayelsa State for this really unfortunate incident. Now, this virus, the monkeypox virus, really looks worse than it is. The pictures have been circulating online, and it looks like a really difficult disease to deal with. In reality, it is not. We haven't had a single fatality. Most cases have done well. Many have been discharged. A few people are still in hospital, primarily for public health reasons. So I'd really ask Nigerians to calm down. I know it's easy to say, but you know, we do face other health challenges in terms of priorities. Monkeypox is actually fairly low on our list of priorities of infectious diseases because, you know, the associated morbidity and mortality, i.e. the number of people that potentially could die from it, is very low. So I ask Nigeria, this government is working very hard to improve our public health sector. We ask you to have confidence in our public health system, go to a primary health care facility. If we think it's monkeypox, every primary health care facility in Nigeria has been told what to do through the channels with which to report it up. And we commit to Nigerians that we will do everything we can to make sure every case is diagnosed. We're going over and above the call of duty to reach out to people to make sure we can get a diagnosis and to reassure Nigerians that we're on top of this and we're doing our very best to control the outbreak. All
right, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Dr. Chikwe Ihekwazo, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the news at 10 tonight. And in part two, after the break, aggrieved PDP members in Anambra State condemn alleged imposition of candidates for the November the 18th governorship election. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.